what is your vision to victorious achievement, or if you want to shorten it, vision to victory plan? Well, again, it's an acronym. There's studies out there that, give them in bullets of three, give them acronyms that they can, then use the acronym to recall a major lesson or a deeper lesson, expanded lesson, very simply, so forth and so on. So vision to victorious achievement breaks down to vision. Breaks down to victory. Victory. So the first one being vision, V. Now, this is the fun part, because now that you've done a lot of this work or considered a lot of what we're talking about as it relates to you, and especially if you're leveraging those 4 A's of change even at this point, and looking at your B's and R's and looking at the challenges that you feel, false evidence appearing real though, you're feeling around goal setting, it allows you to then really get creative and open regarding the vision, what it is that you want in your world, what it is that you want within yourself and for yourself. You can picture it. This is the time to kind of sit back, close your eyes, and just daydream. And I mentioned yesterday, I love to daydream. As long as those daydreams, those that are appropriate, I then turn into goals. But I also daydream just to kind of occupy my mind without having all that other junk in there. So just sit back and start envisioning what it is that you want in life. Now, you can translate this tangibly into a vision board. As a matter of fact, I just ran around town picking up tons of magazines to have a vision board party with some friends over the next couple of weeks, because a couple of my clients who I'm also social with, they've asked me about it. And I have my 2019 and haven't yet gotten around to my 2020. I have my goals, just haven't visualized it yet onto a vision board. So you can take what it is that you're daydreaming about, and you can find those images, those words, those phrases, and put them onto a vision board. Now, for those of you who are tech savvy and or don't necessarily need to be cutting and pasting, you can also do it online. I did that a few years ago. I just took PowerPoint, found some images, and threw it onto a PowerPoint slide, turned that into an image, and I had it on my desktop as well as I printed it. But this is the time to really just open up and ask yourself, what do you want in your life, let's say by January 1st, 2021? And then what do you want in 5 years? And then what do you want at the time of retirement? What do you want it to look like, feel like, smell like, sound like? You could be envisioning, the beach, retiring on the beach. You want a home. You want a house up in the mountains. You want to be able to spend time in Tuscany. A friend of mine is now doing that, and I'm very jealous. He spends time over there in Tuscany doing a course for 3 months out of the year. But he has now a home or residence there. That would be fabulous. So what do you want? What do you want in your life? So think about what you want in your life, because that could include the fact that there's things you don't want in your life, more so downsizing than anything. Not necessarily talking about shedding just yet, but what do you want in your life? Who do you want in your life? So if it is the fact that maybe, if you're at that point of retirement and your kids live elsewhere, maybe, your vision is to move toward them, to be closer to them, maybe closer to the grandkids, closer to, your friends, whatever the case might be. But who do you want in your life? If you're single, like I am, part of your vision may be, where is he? Or who is he? What does he stand for? Or she? So think about the people, the places, the things that you want in your life, and start visualizing them. But also, I need you to also scribble them down and put them on a piece of paper to get them out of your head into words that then you can use to formulate into your plan. All right. Now, I want you to also be thinking about, as part of your vision, what are those words, those phrases, those quotes that inspire you and motivate you and really excite you, and kind of define what your vision might be. And so if you are a visual person, and you're envisioning this vision board, you have all these photos, maybe you have them categorized and themed, and then you have all these words, and phrases, and I have a couple of Bible scriptures, on mine from 2019, whatever, it doesn't matter. And guess what? This is yours. So don't feel, even if you're doing a vision board party and your friends are all there, don't be shy as far as what you're putting on. Don't be insecure. Don't feel like you're boasting, or don't feel like someone's going to ridicule or judge you, because if they do, they shouldn't be there with you. If they do, they're not part of your tribe, so to speak. You need to be able to feel very safe and confident to create whatever vision you want to be creating. And I would have included doing a vision board here as your homework, but that's something that you want to take time to. Now, we talked about this yesterday. You may be the type of person who is not visual, and more so see it more so in a spreadsheet. And I have actually a number of clients. So if you think about the DISC profile, if you're not familiar with it, don't worry about it. But it talks about various personality types. And, one or two of those types is someone who's more analytical, more steadfast, more compliant. They love spreadsheets. And so when we talk goals at the beginning of the year and throughout the year, they just simply send me their spreadsheet. And that's perfectly fine. It doesn't matter. We're not here to judge anybody. And one way is no better than the other. It's what feels right for you. All right. So that's your V. I've lost my paper. Sorry. That's your V for vision, and have fun with it. I mean, this whole vision to victorious achievement part of the plan is fun, because it really gets you opened up and considering all the wonders that are available to you. And I should have said this earlier, do not delete or do not minimize what it is you want because you feel, oh, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources, how am I ever going to do that, so forth and so on. That defeats everything that we're talking about. If your vision for next month, next year, 5 years, or retirement is grandiose, then that's your vision, and own it, going back to owning it. And then we'll work together to put a plan in place for you to achieve it. All right? All right, so victory. We're on to the I. Inspiration. So who, what, where, why are you inspired by? And again, it could be the people, the places, could be experiences, it could be adventures, it could be hobbies. I get inspired by my journaling. I get inspired by listening to, podcasts. I get inspired by reading. I get inspired by going out to the dog park and just watching the dogs love on each other and love on me. Whatever inspires you, get a handle on that as well, because that will feed into not only your vision, but also your goals. It, more importantly, is going to feed into when crap comes up, and it will, then you go back to your victory plan, and you look at it, and you go back to your goals and you look at it. And we're also going to talk about your why spot, and you look at it, and those are all the things that you use to push through and overcome when those peaks and valleys come your way, and they will. Okay, so just keep in mind, you want to really be open and thinking about what inspires you. All right, so the next one's commitment. Now, this is where a lot of my clients are slow to respond to me when we get into this part of my coaching with them is, I want you to make a commitment. I want you to, and I actually, there's a part of my coaching where they actually have to sign a declaration of commitment. And it really just talks to, are you committed to the work that needs to be done? Are you committed to the obligation of your time, of your resources, of your truth? Are you committed to the sacrifices, the compromises, the things that you need to, walk away from? Are you fully committed to your vision and that inspiration that you've already defined? What commitments are you willing to make? Not able to make, not able, but willing to make. You may not have the money, you may not have the time, you may not have the freedom to do something. But so I don't want you to think about what am I able to do? It's what are you willing to do? Are you willing to get up that much earlier in order to do whatever it is that you have to do? Are you willing to invest? Are you willing to change jobs, move the states, move out of the country? Are you willing to walk away from friends that aren't serving you? Are you willing to compromise, with your family, with your friends, whatever the case might be, in that in order to do X, you're going to need to adjust to do Y. So think through all the things that you're willing to commit to in order to pursue this vision and the goals that you're going to be defining for yourself. All right. T, and we've talked a lot about this already, but T is truth. It takes you to really be truthful to yourself more so than anybody else. Because again, this isn't about anybody else. You need to be true to yourself. And trust me when I say when you are actually able to look in the mirror and point out your B's, point out your R's, go back to the last night's session to understand what those are. But if you're, want to truly look in a mirror and see yourself, see who you really are, then you just need to be willing to dig deep, pull out all the junk, pull out all the beautiful things about yourself. I call them beauty marks and warts and B's and R's. But you need to be able to be truthful about what it is that you want, who you are, who you don't want to be, who you want to be, so forth and so on. All right, so truth is huge when it comes to all of this work. Because I can't help you and you can't help yourself if you're not being honest with yourself. That's really the basics of it. If you're not being honest with yourself about kind of, the excuses you might be making, the behavior you might be having, the words you might be using, the interactions, communications, collaborations, lack of teaming, whatever the case might be, if you can't be truthful to that, and if you can't be truthful to all the talents and skills and beauty that you have, that you possess, and you can't be truthful to owning that as well. And oftentimes it's easy for people to identify their negatives, very difficult for them to identify their positives. And yet, without that, you're always going to struggle. If you don't recognize your R's, clue, if you don't recognize your R's and honor them, then your B's or your negatives are always going to slow you down, or if not, totally sabotage you. All right, so you need to look at all of that. O is to overcome. So we've talked about that. All of these things that we've outlined in the VICT so far is going to also provide that confidence, that sense of empowerment, of worthiness, of value, of determination, of energy to overcome whatever, comes your way. So we talked enough about that. So, but just consider that all this work that we're doing between yesterday, today, leading into tomorrow at noon is really creating that baseline of where you are today. And then we're going to create where you want to go so we can fill in the gap. Does that make sense? All right. So then your R's are regrets and rewards. This drives my clients crazy. And I might, I throw in consequences there as well, but I already used the C. But regrets and rewards. You need to kind of say to yourself, what am I going to regret if I don't pursue what I want? What am I going to regret if I just remain comfortable? What am I going to regret if, I let some opportunity pass me by because of that false evidence appearing real? What are those regrets? Now, I have mentioned to you, so I don't want to seem as if I'm contradicting myself. If you work with me outside of this particular program, I talk a lot about the fact that I don't have regrets. Even as ugly of a person I was, and the nasty things that I did, and the horrible things that happened to me, and yet all the beautiful things and the successes and the accomplishments, I don't have regrets for anything that has happened to me up until this point in time. I will never say I'll never regret anything, but as of this moment in time, I don't have regrets because I feel that everything that's happened to me has led me to this, has led me to now being able to serve you, and I'm going to cry. So I won't. So think through your regrets. Think through what are you going to miss out on and will be sorry that you didn't because of because of fear, because of doubt, because of negativity, because of naysayers, especially the external stuff. The people that say, "Oh, you're not good enough, you can't do that, you're not smart enough," whatever the case might be. Think about your regrets. I want you to also think about your rewards. What are the rewards you're going to get? What are the benefits? And you might even throw in there tangible rewards that you give yourself, for accomplishing and what it is that you want. Maybe you take yourself on a trip, buy a new wardrobe, whatever the case might be. Think about the rewards that you're going to gain. Maybe it's health. Maybe it is that new job and, that new home, that new city, that new country, that new relationship. Whatever the case might be, what are the rewards you're also going to get from focusing and committing to you and what it is that you want? Now, keep in mind, we always talk about the fact that, on airlines, we kind of don't even hear them anymore when they say, put the mask on yourself first before helping anyone else. That's what we're talking about here. You can't serve, you can't give, you can't love, you can't be for anyone else until you take care of yourself. Now, you might think that you are because you are right now surviving and very comfortable and you have breath. But at the same time, are you really giving them you, all of you, the best you? Think about it. Regrets and rewards, all right? And then lastly, why? Can anybody think about what why is? What would why be? To finish off this victory. It's you. Why is you? You just need to be part of all of this. You need to put yourself into it. You need to acknowledge that this is what you want, or this isn't what you want. But there would be none of this. We wouldn't have to be here. So focus that why. I actually have it capitalized versus on mine versus all the other letters of victory as part of your victory to victorious achievement. But it's you. And I just pray and I'm hopeful and confident that if you're sitting here and you're participating, whether it's live on the watch, you can't do it until the weekend, whatever the case might be. But if you are, then you're concerned about you. You're interested in you. You are committing to you. So let's take it all the way to where you're making those commitments. All right. And part of your homework for this evening is to, in the workbook, there is a template. I won't spend time looking for it, but there's a template for you to define your your vision to victory plan. So just as we talked about through the acronym of victory. So take a look for that. Spend some time. I would even say just 5 minutes. Just the truth sits on the surface. And you can always go back to it and continue to enrich it and enhance it. But work on it and then snap a photo of it and post it onto our homework unit out on the Shift to Riches page. I'm telling you, as you do each one of these assignments, forget about posting it in me. That's not the point. When you're doing it, you're all of a sudden, you're already shifting, you're already changing, you're already growing. And that's the point of all of this.